everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is I, your girl, Sandra Peachy MW. Whew. Where to start? So today I officially defended my thesis and I am done and I'm approved for graduation. And so I've been sharing this journey since second year, and we're about to cross the finish line. So I decided to take the recording of my thesis and put it here so that those who were unable to come watch, because a lot of you guys really did want to come watch, I shared the link on my WhatsApp, but obviously not everybody had access to it. So all my family on YouTube that really wanted to watch my defense, I am giving you this chance. So this video is literally just my thesis defense, where you can watch it from end to finish. I would like to thank everybody for the support. I would like to thank my family. I would like to thank the students from Bunda that helped us. I would like to thank Prophetita Walter, who has been our supervisor throughout this whole year, giving us guidance. And I would love to thank Prophet Amanda for being there for us during our ups and downs. I would love to thank Esnai, my partner, who was there with me as we cried together, laughed together, and just were shocked together. If you didn't know, we had our previous thesis cancelled just in the second trimester. We have 3 trimesters in a year, and therefore we had 12 weeks to complete this new project that we had. The cancellation was beyond us. It was because of the COVID-19 that we ended up not being able to go outside and source insects to do an experimental design from our previous project, which was analyzing the different application methods of nematodes. But now we decided to create a product for the Malawian government, which is a manual that will help guide farmers on implementing an integrated pest management strategy. And we did it. We created a product. I am a proud author of an integrated pest management manual, and I hope this manual can be something that can be used to help someone out there. And this is the thesis, this is the presentation. Just thank you to everybody, and I will see you guys in my next video.
Okay. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this segment of the presentation. Before we start, I would like to present the external examiner, Professor Zachary Senwo, who is a professor of soil and environmental science at the Alabama A&M University in the United States. He is also a Fulbright scholar and has authored hundreds of scientific publications. Professor, you are welcome. So this morning we are going to listen to Sandra Kaloa and Esnai Cleanwell with their presentation titled Elaboration of an Integrated Pest Management Manual for some major cash crops in Malawi. You have 15 minutes to present, and after which we are going to have 5 minutes of a question and answer session. Good luck. Can start.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today, my partner Esnai Cleanwell Muntali and I, Sandra Kalua, will be presenting on our thesis, the elaboration of an integrated pest management manual for some major cash crops in Malawi. This project was supervised by Dr. Thita Walter.
Malawi has 11.8 million hectares of land and 56 of that land being used for cultivating crops. Its economy highly depends on agriculture, with 84% of the population depending on agriculture. And Malawi's sector agriculture accounts for more than 1/3 of the nation's GDP and 81% of exports.
As mentioned above, Malawi depends on 81% of its exports being an agricultural product. Some of these products include tobacco, maize, sugarcane, beans, coffee, and tea. But for this specific project, we focused on 4 major cash crops, which are tobacco, maize, sugarcane, and beans.
Carrying on, the importance of the productivity of these important cash crops is being affected by a lot of factors, and pest damage to crop production is one of the major challenges faced by farmers in Malawi. Pests have reduced the crop yield significantly. And another problem is that farmers have little or no training on the management and pest control strategies and how to effectively apply them. This is because the knowledge of the pests that attack the crops and how to control them is not yet fully adopted due to low nutrients level among farmers. And the majority of the farmers use pesticides to protect the crops. However, the risk of pesticide poisoning is high due to poor pesticide handling and proper pest protective equipment.
Okay, as a solution to the above mentioned problems, we decided to conduct a field survey for farmers from Malawi of 44 farmers of each of the crops that I mentioned above. And the information that was collected from this survey was then used as a basis for the elaboration of an integrated pest management manual.
The general objective of the project was to elaborate a pest management manual for major cash crops grown in Malawi, with the aim of providing alternative methods on pest control to farmers and guidelines on proper use of protective pest equipment.
As our specific objectives, we collected data of the pest damage and control methods that are currently used by the farmers in Malawi. Then we described the pests of tobacco, maize, beans, and sugarcane with their possible control solutions that are available in the country. Furthermore, we decided to show how to calibrate the pesticide application equipment to emphasize on the importance of complete personal protective equipment during agrochemical applications.
The study was conducted in the central and southern regions of Malawi. Firstly, preparation and distribution of 44 structured questionnaires which were administered to 40 local farmers in Malawi. The questionnaires consisted of each of the selected crops names, the scientific, local, and common names of the pest, and also the method used by farmers. And they were also asked if they are aware of the use of the person protective equipment when handling chemicals. And later, the data was collected and analyzed using Excel, which was later used as a guideline to elaborate a manual guide. And this manual guide is written in a simple language where a farmer with basic elemental skills will be able to understand and put it in practice.
Now, moving on to the results and discussions, we will start with the maize pests. Firstly, we will start with the armyworm, which is locally known as Nchembere. This is a lepidopteran insect that is from the Noctuidae family that causes damage to the plant by chewing through the stalk and also eating the cob and the leaves of the plant. It is found in 44 nations in Africa, including Malawi. When farmers were asked about how they control this pest, 33% indicated that they use cultural methods, 1% use biological methods, and 31% use chemical methods. We had a combination of cultural and chemical with 33% and a combination of cultural, biological, and chemical with 2%. We also moved on with the maize stalk borer, which is also a lepidopteran insect from the Noctuidae family that causes damage by eating through the stalk of the plant, leaving it to wilt and die. This results in a loss of yield and profit. It is found in all sub-Saharan countries, including Malawi. When farmers were asked how they manage this pest, they indicated that 33% of them use cultural methods, 1% of them use biological methods, 32% of them use chemical methods, and 33% use cultural and chemical. As a suggestion in our manual, we decided to introduce the Pushpull Strategy, which was implemented by ICIPE, the International Center of Insect Physiology and Ecology. This strategy requires you to have a repellent grass, such as Desmodium, which will be put within your plot, which will repel the female moth away from your crops, and also having an attracted plant, such as the Napa grass, on the border of your plot, which will result in the females being attracted to this grass and laying their eggs within this grass, which will result in a reduction of the population of the armyworm in your plot. This strategy has been supported by Midinga et al. In 2018, which showed that the implementation of the Pushpull strategy reduced fowl by 86%. We also suggested in our manual the use of intercropping with legumes, which results in a reduction of the population of the insect. This can be supported by the International Maize and Wheat Improvement Center that found in 2018 that intercropping with legumes reduced the fowl by 20 to 30%. Moving on, we have the Maize Weevil, which is known as Nankafumbwe. This is a storage pest. Malawi has one planting season and one harvesting season, after which the maize is dried and stored. Therefore, a majority of the yield is kept in a stored grain. Therefore, this insect poses as a problem as it feeds on the grain and lays its eggs on the inside the grain, which the eggs then later turn into a pupa that then later feed on the entire content of the inside of the maize, leaving it as a hollow shell. This results in a loss of profits and yields. And when farmers were asked how they manage this insect, 30% of them indicated that they use cultural methods, 29% of them use chemical methods, 6% of them use biological methods. And then we had a combination of 30% using cultural plus chemical, and lastly, a 5% using cultural, biological, and chemical. We found that we suggested in our manual that to control the maize weevil, it would be more beneficial for the farmers to use plant extracts such as neem powders, and we explained in great detail how to do so. And also we found Udo from 2011 was supporting this suggestion and found that using plant extracts such as neem powder yields positive results in the reduction of a maize weevil.
Moving on to bean pest, firstly we looked at bean weevil, locally known as Nankafumbe. This is a storage pest. It develops and feeds on stored beans in Malawi. And according to the results obtained, 34% of the farmers use cultural methods such as early planting, proper harvesting, and also mixing of ash together with neem powder in order to control the pest. And 32% of the farmers use chemical method and 1% of the farmers use biological method in order to control the pest. Secondly, we have black bean aphid, locally known as sabwe. This pest is one of the major 14 species of aphids attacking bean in Malawi. It plagues the plant tissues to suck the plant sap, which results in leaves carrying. According to the survey conducted, 38% of the farmers use chemical method to control the pest, and 32% use cultural method to control the pest. According to Kapea, tackling this problem during nation bean programs, he identified similar chemicals to be used to control the black bean aphid, which he commented that some of these chemicals which farmers reported they use, it has reduced the pest infestation efficiently. In continuation, we have cutworms, locally known as mbozizanyemba. This feeds on the base of the young bean plant, which cuts the plant into two separate pieces and results into stunted growth and to yield loss. And according to the results conducted, we found that 40% of the farmers use chemical method, and 34 of the farmers use cultural method to control the pest. According to a thesis done by Mukamu 2006, observed similar results. She mentioned that 40% of the farmers in Kenya use similar chemical methods to control the pest. And also Kuma 2010 commented on the use of different insecticide against the pests, such as the Kalati insecticide, which was reported by the farmers from Malawi that it reduces the pest infestation effectively.
Moving on to the tobacco pest, we have the tobacco budworm, which does not have a local name. This insect causes damage to the plant by eating on the buds and also defoliating the plant. We also have the tobacco hornworm, which is known as Mbuzizafoya, which defoliates the plant completely, leaving it with just the stem. Then we also have the wireworm, which is the tobacco wireworm, which is a larvae of the click beetle, locally known as Capuchiwafoya. This damages the crop by boring through the roots and feeding through the stem, resulting in the death of the plant. When farmers were asked on When farmers were asked on how they manage these insects, we found that 100% of them use chemical methods of control, and we found that pesticides are mostly used in the tobacco industry in Malawi. This is because tobacco is a valuable monocrop, which results in it being very sensitive to infections of plant diseases and also being attacked by pests. This can be verified by SOCO 2018, who also indicated that because tobacco is a valuable monocrop in Malawi, it results in it being a very sensitive plot and a crop, and therefore needing more support from the pesticides. In our manual, we suggested using an integrated pest management plan to handle or tackle the pests in tobacco, therefore reducing the dependency on pesticides.
Last year, we looked at sugarcane pests. Firstly, yellow sugarcane aphids, locally known as Nsawi. These feed on the young leaves on the lower surface of sugarcane, and leaves damaged by it usually turn yellow. And secondly, we have termites, locally known as chiswe, which are characterized as social insects. They feed on the base and stalk of the sugarcane, resulting in stunted growth of the plant. And finally, we have lead spider mites, locally known as Cangaudeophila. These pests spread by crawling from plant to plant when leaves touch each other and through wind, which results to reddish spots appearance on the leaves. According to the results obtained, 95% of the farmers use chemical method and 2% of the farmers use calcium method. According to Donga 2018, like my partner has explained, sugarcane industry is also the largest consumer of pesticides like tobacco. It's because it's also the most variable monocrop after tobacco.
Lastly, we will look at personal protective equipment, which I'll here on forth refer to as PPE. We found 14% of farmers do not use PPE, 48% of farmers use incomplete PPE, and 38% of farmers use complete PPE. This is because we found that the government of Malawi does not provide subsidies to help farmers to afford a complete set of PPE, because these items are very expensive for a subsistence farmer, and therefore resulting in them not using a complete set. Also, we found that farmers do not know the risk of pesticide poisoning, and therefore do not see the importance of investing in a complete set of PPE, resulting in the majority not using it. The 38% that you find that use complete PPE are from the industry such as sugarcane and tobacco, where it is a major corporations handle such crops, and therefore they can afford the PPE and understand the risk with the risk of handling pesticides.
In general discussion, the results obtained from the survey shows that farmers in Malawi mostly use chemical methods to control pests. And these chemicals are mainly used in tobacco, sugarcane, and beans, while in maize the usage is low. This finding is in line with the research conducted by Donga 2018 about the use of pesticides in Malawi, who commented that such crops use high percentage of pesticides because they contribute to Malawi's foreign exchange with 9% to 12%. And also, according to SOCO, he commented that because some of these plants, like tobacco and sugarcane, are sensitive plants to grow, and they require numerous pesticides throughout their growing season. On the other hand, most farmers reported the use of calcium methods such as applying ash, crop rotation, use of resistant varieties, and intercropping. They use these traditional methods because they are easily adopted and the materials are readily available and less costly. This is in accordance with the results from the experiments done in Zambia and Mozambique, that crops protected from traditional methods and conventional methods do not show significant difference. For example, the Calate insecticide was as effective as neem oil treatments.
Moving on, we found biological control methods by farmers are very low due to the lack of awareness and knowledge of existing commercial biological control methods. This is because in Malawi, we have one major distributor that provides bacteria. Bacteria is a form of biological control. This means that in Malawi, we do not have access to nematodes, predators, other strands of bacteria and fungi. If one decides to use such methods, they would have to import them from Kenya or South Africa. Therefore, the farmers do not consider it as a viable method of pest control, but we would suggest the use of biological control methods because it will shun us away from using pesticides. Also, 86% of farmers surveyed use incomplete personal protective equipment because they lack awareness concerning potential risks associated with chemical pesticides and because of the insufficient funds to buy the equipment. Like I mentioned before, the government does not provide subsidies for farmers to be able to afford such equipment. Therefore, we have a high number of farmers not using a complete set of PPE.
In conclusion, chemical control is the common method being used in Malawi, followed by cultural control method and finally biological control. According to our survey and some literature's review by Mukam 2006, these methods have potential in controlling the pests of tobacco, maize, beans, and sugarcane if applied effectively. And also a manual describing the pests, the life cycle damage and distribution was elaborated for cash crops with their possible control methods. And finally, most farmers use incomplete person protective equipment during chemical. The manual which has been elaborated, it emphasized the importance of the person protective equipment during chemical handling and also the calibration process.
We recommend that farmers should avoid purchasing chemicals that are banned. As we had seen from the surveys that we conducted, most of the pesticides that were used by farmers were banned by international safety organizations. And therefore, we have suggested various pesticides that a farmer may use that are safe to use and are recommended. And therefore, we feel that the farmers should follow the guide and use these pesticides to avoid the risk of pesticide poisoning and also damaging the environment. Also, farmers should read and understand the procedures and packaging information for chemicals used, especially the dosage, toxicity level, and application methods. In our manual, we recommend dosages and also show the different toxicity levels of different pesticides that we have suggested and how to apply them and also how to manage pesticide application equipment. Therefore, we feel that the farmers should be able to acquire this relevant knowledge to make informed decisions on how to apply the pesticides. Lastly, the Ministry of Agriculture should provide training and necessary information for local farmers that advocate for the use of integrated pest management manual to improve its application. Our manual can be one of these tools used by the Ministry of Agriculture because before we suggest chemical control, we encourage farmers to practice biological and cultural controls, which are detailed in the manual and easy to understand for the farmers. And therefore, if all fails, they can now apply chemicals and also how to use them safely so that they do not hurt themselves or the people around them. Therefore, with that, would like to thank God Almighty for his support and being with us throughout this whole process. Our assessor, Dr. Tito Water, who advised us accordingly and was a form of support during this project, and also Mastercard Foundation for believing in us and giving us the opportunity to study here at Earth University. And lastly, our friends and family who show forms of support when times were really hard and during this pandemic.
Thank you.
Okay. Awesome. Congratulations, girl, for this great job. And congratulations especially for the time you put in trying to come out with this manual. I know how much sleepless night you guys had. I only hope that it will be of value to the farmers in Malawi. That said, I would like to open the floor for questioning, beginning with our external examiner, Professor Zachary Senwo. Over to you.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Sorry. Okay, thank you. I enjoyed your presentation, and I think it's a great work and great input. Again, like you say, hopefully your government will adopt some of your recommendation. But I have some questions more from the scientific side. You guys were all stressing more chemicals. Do you think they use the same chemical to control every pest for the 4 identified crops that you presented here? Is it just the same chemical, or each crop is chemically specific?
Okay, So we have a manual that we have elaborated that has over 100 pages. And for each pest, we have specific pesticides that we have suggested. And so there is no one set of pesticide that we are recommending for all the crops. So for this, the manual will allow the farmer to see first the cultural and the biological means of controlling the pest. Then later, we'll see the different available pesticides that are in Malawi for them to apply, also their dosages and how to use them. But we strongly suggested in the manual that first, before going to the pesticides, we should consider applying the biological means and the cultural means, and then later on, if all fails, we can now consider the chemical route.
Okay, take a crop like corn. Mm-hmm. What is or what are the specific chemicals that are used, or pesticide chemicals that are used for its control? Chemical pesticide. Is there a specific one, or there are a couple of them? And name me one or two.
Okay, for maize pest in Malawi, the chemical methods, the insecticides which they use, they are mostly for maize weevil because it's a store pest. They use actelic and shumba dust, chemicals like those ones.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now go back to the biological method. The biological method. I think you talked about some extracts.
Yes.
Some extracts, yes. Specifically, what extracts are those?
Okay.
Or are you looking at, or were they looking at some kind of disrupting the life cycle of the pest by planting at some specific time?
Okay, so with the biological methods, we talked about the use of bacteria, the Bacillus thuringiensis, and also we talked about implementation of nematodes, fungicides, and also other strands of bacteria. In the manual, we have also suggested different predators that one can get to control the pests. So like, for example, the ladybug beetle that feeds on aphids, we elaborated in the manual how to attract the ladybug beetle to increase the population in your fields. In regards to the plant extract, we talked about the neem extract. And in the manual, we gave detailed steps on how to create the neem powder or the neem oil, which you can spray on your plants. So it's various methods, various steps, which in the guide we elaborate in great detail.
Last question before I give up. How educated are the farmers in Malawi? Because I would think, if you are going out forcing them this knowledge on them, how educated are they to be able to understand and read and implement what you say?
Okay, do you want to answer that? The farmers, okay, the manual guide is put in basic English language. Malawi's national language includes English, and therefore anybody with basic elementary school learning will understand this manual. Also, we decided that if we are going to collaborate with the Malawi government, which we feel is a great means to distribute it, the Malawi government works with technical advisors or extension workers that work with smallholder farmers that can also explain any part that the farmer does not understand. Of course, we understand it's in basic English, but I know that speaking of these big words such as Bavaria or nematodes, neem extracts may be a little bit more advanced for the farmers. Therefore, we think working with these technical people and extension workers would be a great impact in helping the farmers at a local level.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Because of time constraint, we might not have more questions. I want to use this opportunity again to congratulate you girls for this fantastic job. I work with you. I know the challenges you had, and congratulations for the steadfast.
Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for coming, and best wishes.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.